Good morning all, high quality horn, and what's in this one? Well, let's open it and find out. It is a little circuit board. Yes, it's a little cheap eBay pulse width modulator. So here's the question, what happens if you pulse width modulate a car horn? Oh, crazy, let's find out. And there's even some data on this car horn. It says 12 volts, 400 hertz. Should we have a listen to it? Let's get some 12 volts on it. So there doesn't seem to be a plus and a minus on there, so I guess it can work either way around. These crock clip leads are so bad. I've had so much trouble with them, with high resistance and poor contacts. They're just terrible, so I'm not even sure this is going to work. Let's try it. I don't need to tell you this is going to be loud, do I? Oh, it doesn't work at all. That's not good. Well, it turns out it was the black crock clip lead. I think that's gone completely open circuit. This is one I made using really high current cable. Okay, here we go then. Oh, yeah, that's quite aggressive. Oh, that's fallen off. That's quite aggressive sounding. So when I pulse width modulate this, is it going to sound less aggressive than that? So this little PWM module, I think it was $1.50. There's a 555 in there. You can probably only see that if I illuminate it. Yeah, can we see 555? Any 555? So that used in pulse width modulation mode. There is a fuse here. I think it might be 3 amps because it's got 30 written on it. The other number is 185. I've got a feeling that's 3 amps. I'll have a look at the listing for this in a moment, but it's very, very simple, but that does offer some protection. I've got a feeling this horn takes more than 3 amps, so this thing might overheat the fuse, but we'll find out. Not a lot on here. There's an international rectifier. Well, I guess that's a MOSFET. What is that? P039D. Yeah, I think that's a MOSFET. It would make sense that it's a MOSFET. Driven directly by the 555. By the looks of things, there's a regulator on there, probably for the 555. Actually, this has quite a wide range of voltage. Oh no, 3 to 15, so that should be fine for the 555. So what's that 3-terminal device there? I have to have a closer look at that. Yeah, it's difficult to get the light right on here, but it's a 78L1 something. So is it a 12 maybe? I don't know. Why would you have that if you've got an input range of 3 to 15 volts? Why would you regulate it down to... I wish I could read that better, but I can't. Now we do have to remember that there are 2 frequencies here. There's the 400 Hertz self-oscillation of the horn, and I think this runs at 10 kilohertz, I seem to remember. Now there shouldn't be too much connection between 10 kilohertz and 400 hertz, but what's it gonna sound like? I would imagine when this is... That's actually got a switch. Why would that need a switch? Does it turn off? Maybe it does. I'd imagine when this is at low PWM, this will have difficulty oscillating, and then as you reach a certain point, this will burst into oscillation. You probably then will be able to back it down from that point, but will this change pitch in the face of different amounts of pulse width modulation of the 12 volt supply at 10 kilohertz? I haven't got a clue. Right, I found some odds and ends of wire. I've got a couple of wires here with these spades already on them, so that will work for the horn. That could go into my pulse width modulator. What's that? I don't need that. And I've got a red and black here which can go from battery to pulse width modulator. Let's solder some spades onto there. These aren't spades, are they? What are those things called? Can't remember. Let's solder some on and get this fired up. Right, there we are. Spade terminals on. Yeah, spades these are, aren't they? Pulse width modulator, so let's connect that up to the battery and see what happens if you pulse width. What's going to happen when I connect that? Nothing. I'm actually quite scared of this. Actually, tell you what, before we do this, let's just go to eBay and take a look at the spec of this device. So this is the item. It's very cheap, like I said, $1.50. 53. It's a mini DC 5 amp motor, pulse width modulation speed controller, 3 to 35 volts. Oh, that's not what it says on the back. Speed control switch, LED dimmer, and horn controller. And it came from Alice 110, 1983. Let's look at some spec. And here is the spec. Well, it's 100% brand new and high quality. So the input voltage is anything from 3 volts to 35 volts. Of course, that's the output voltage as well. Control power 90 watts maximum. Well, that horn, I don't know. My gut feeling is that it's 100 watts or so of output power. Quiescent current 15 milliamps. That's not particularly low, but it's not particularly high in a power application. Pulse width modulation duty cycle 1% to 100%, so it doesn't look like it turns completely off. Probably not a problem here. And the pulse width modulation frequency is 10 kilohertz. Now that's going to be wildly different between units, I would imagine, because it's all just based on a resistor capacitor combination. But yeah, that's the spec. Right, so here we go. Actually, just before I do this, why am I doing this at all? Well, because the car horn is not a very expressive instrument, is it? You can't express yourself with a car horn. You just switch it on or off. So it's just a blast. It sounds quite aggressive, quite angry. And I wanted something that was more expressive. I wanted something that would kind of make a noise like as if you're not angry, but just a bit put out. It's those situations where you're driving along and someone's parked inconsiderately, half on the pavement, or actually completely not on the pavement and in the road, and you're held up and it's just a bit inconsiderate and you want to express your discontent, but not with an angry blast. You want something more like this. Let's give it a try. Ooh, nothing at that level. Oh, actually it's quite microphonic here. I'm hearing the sort of scratchiness of the pot until it finally goes into blast, but it's not as expressive as I was hoping. Let's take it up to maximum. Well, I don't know, that's not bad, is it? Something smells a bit funny. Well, I suppose it sort of half works. I don't know whether it's overheating. I don't think it is actually. That MOSFET's not terribly hot. It's got some expression, hasn't it? So, yeah, maybe it works. Maybe it would be better actually if I had a pulse width modulation frequency that was a bit closer to this, because then you get some sort of interesting interplay between those two frequencies. But well, there it is. That's what happens if you pulse width modulate a car horn. I was just curious. Cheerio.